Imagine this. You hesitate before sending a message. You replay conversations in your head. You avoid confessing your feelings. You stay silent in meetings. You don't apply for that opportunity, not because you lack talent, but because you're afraid of hearing one word: no. Rejection is one of the most powerful emotional threats a human can experience. But here's the real question. Why does rejection hurt so much, even when it comes from someone we barely know? Why do some people bounce back easily, while others spiral into anxiety, overthinking, or self-doubt? Today, we're going to explore the science, psychology, childhood roots, and neurological reasons behind the fear of rejection. And by the end of this video, you might realize that your fear of rejection was never really about the present. In 1995, psychologists Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary proposed something revolutionary called the need to belong theory. They suggested that humans have a fundamental psychological need to form and maintain interpersonal relationships. In simple terms, being accepted isn't a luxury, it's a survival requirement. For early humans, social rejection meant being excluded from the tribe, losing protection, losing food resources, becoming vulnerable to predators. So your brain evolved a system that treats social rejection like physical danger. In fact, modern neuroscience has shown that rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain, particularly the anterior cingulate cortex, the insula. This is why rejection doesn't just hurt emotionally. It literally hurts neurologically. Your brain processes, "They don't like me," in almost the same way it processes, "I am physically injured." Childhood, where the fear begins. Now let's go deeper. Why are some people more afraid of rejection than others? The answer often lies in attachment theory. Developed by psychologist John Bowlby, this theory explains how early relationships with caregivers shape our emotional patterns in adulthood. If a child grows up with emotionally inconsistent parents, conditional love, frequent criticism, neglect, or unpredictability, they may develop an anxious attachment style. This teaches the child love is unstable. Connection can disappear anytime, so the brain learns to seek reassurance constantly, overanalyze emotional signals, fear abandonment, attach quickly, panic at emotional distance. Now in adulthood, a delayed text reply doesn't feel neutral. It feels like a threat to emotional survival. Rejection sensitivity. The hidden pattern. Psychologists Geraldine Downey and Scott Feldman introduced the concept of rejection sensitivity, RS. This refers to the tendency to anxiously expect, quickly perceive, and intensely react to rejection. People with high RS often assume others are upset with them, interpret neutral behavior negatively, overthink tone and wording, feel rejected without actual rejection. Example, someone replies, "Okay." A rejection-sensitive brain hears, "They're mad. They're losing interest. I did something wrong. They're pulling away," even when none of it is true. The self-fulfilling prophecy. Here's where it becomes dangerous. Fear of rejection can cause behaviors that actually increase the chances of being rejected. For example, if you believe, "People will eventually leave me," you may seek constant reassurance, become overly clingy, withdraw emotionally, first, avoid vulnerability, become defensive, which might push others away. And when they do leave, your brain says, "See, I knew it." This is known as a cognitive emotional feedback loop, where fear creates behavior, behavior creates distance, distance confirms the fear. Real-life examples. Let's look at how fear of rejection shows up. Workplace. You don't share your ideas in meetings because you fear criticism. Result, you appear disengaged or uninterested. Relationships. You constantly check your partner's tone or replies. Result, they feel suffocated. Social media. You hesitate to post something because of possible judgment. Result? You silence your own expression. Rejection doesn't even need to happen. The possibility is enough. Why rejection feels like abandonment. To your nervous system, connection equals safety, and rejection equals isolation, loss of belonging, emotional exposure, lack of protection. So even small signs like a late reply, canceled plans, short responses can activate the threat detection system, which releases cortisol, adrenaline, putting your body into fight, flight, or freeze mode, all because of a social signal. The evolutionary trade-off. Ironically, your fear of rejection exists because it helped your ancestors survive. But in the modern world, that same survival system now activates when someone unfollows you, leaves your message unseen, doesn't laugh at your joke, rejects your proposal. Your brain doesn't know the difference between social exclusion in a tribe and being ignored on WhatsApp. Conclusion. Fear of rejection is not weakness, it's not insecurity, and it's definitely not irrational. It's evolutionary, neurological, psychological, developmental. But the moment you understand that your reactions are often shaped by past emotional experiences, you gain the power to break the cycle. Because sometimes, you're not afraid of being rejected today. You're afraid of being abandoned like you were yesterday. Subscribe now. It might just change the way you understand love, connection, and yourself.